Namaste to all. Om Namah Shivaya. Hearty welcome to the ongoing retreat on healing, which is a very timely topic, a very important topic for so many reasons that we have been looking at. Today the topic is Vedanta and emotional health or emotional healing. In the olden days, in ancient India, we never really, or even in any ancient system of medicine, ancient Chinese medicine, ancient Indian medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, we never really made a bifurcation or a separation between physical and mental health or emotional health. It was all one full person. In any indigenous system, this is how it is. You don't treat the symptom. You treat the root of the disease. You go straight to the root. Because the symptoms are so many, and the symptoms can be common to various things. So you don't treat the symptom. But we live in strange times. It is called Kali Yuga. Kali means conflict. Kali means disconnection. And this disconnection, conflict, strife is there right here, between the head and the body, between the mind and the emotions. And so therefore we have to have it necessitates a special title and a special session on emotional healing. And then of course the other part of the title is Vedanta. What is this thing called Vedanta? What is this animal called Vedanta? Or maybe it is plant-based. Let us find out. Let us find out. Vedanam antah Vedantah. That which comes at the end of the Vedas. So, it's very interesting. In the Shastra, in the teaching, you say Veda and Vedanta. But you don't say that anywhere else. Like we never talk about a book and its last chapter. Do we talk about it like that? No. When you say a book on world history, for example, or a book on Ayurveda, it includes the last chapter. But here we make a very concise, precise distinction between the last chapter and the rest of the book. Why? Because the last chapter, which is called Vedanta, which occurs at the end, is a book in itself. It's a separate book. And not only is it a separate standalone book, the last chapter appeals to a very different set of people than the first chapters. This is also very strange. Nobody says, I like the book very much in a book club. Can you imagine this kind of a conversation? I like the book very much, but I do not like the last chapter. Nobody talks like that. But here, the last chapter has almost nothing to do with the chapters that went before it. It's a very different. Subject matter, which necessitates a very different audience, and then it has a different prayojana. Prayojana means effect, purpose. So what is it that is so drastically different? The first chapter, the first portion of the Veda is called Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda means the karma portion, where our actions And the results of actions are discussed a lot. And why are they discussed a lot? Because the Veda wants to prepare us into being human beings that will be responsible, that will be righteous, and that will learn how to navigate all the difficult relationships in this life while being present as much as possible. So what is the subject matter of the first portion of the Veda? Very simply put, the subject matter is how to fulfill your desires. That is the subject matter. Oh, I'm liking the first chapters already. And that's why the first portion is so big, and I am warming up. So the first portion is big because the gamut of desires in one human mind is innumerable. Multiply that by now, the scientists are saying 8 billion. No longer we can say 7 billion. 8 billion people. So multiply that. How big should the compendium of desires are? That big should be how to fulfill those desires. Oh, it's easy. I know how to fulfill it. The desires. What? Of somebody, and then my desire is fulfilled because that person is no longer in the way. Or, cut through the competition, silence the competition, and then I have my way. Snatch it what I want from somebody because it belongs to them. Whether it's a house or a spouse, doesn't matter. Snatch it, and then it belongs to me, and I have my way. Not so fast, says the first portion of the Veda. It teaches you how to fulfill your desires in keeping with what we call dharma. What is dharma? The universal matrix of norms. Matrix means don't go to the movie, okay? Yeah. Stay here. Yeah. So, it's the universal matrix of norms which tell us how to go about life without targeting ourselves or other people. How to live life in a way that we live it without hurting ourselves, blaming ourselves or another. So the first Veda is a school. It's like a play school where all the children are put. Little play school, play pen. Yeah. Better to think of it as a play pen. The first playpen I saw was when I came here for the first time. And I went to somebody's house, and then they had twins, their own 2 children, infants, were 6 months old. And then they were also taking care of other people's twins, so there were 4 babies in this playpen, and different ages. Those were a little older. The babies that were being cared for, they were about 9-10 months old. They were able to look out, hold up and stand up, all these things. Every little while the children would cry, and the babysitter, the caregiver, whoever was there, would throw a teddy bear in the playpen. Would throw a little, what is that called? They suck on it for comfort. Pacifier, yeah. I was thinking comforter, but that's a different thing, yeah. So pacifier. They would throw a pacifier into the playpen and then 15 minutes of silence. Or they would throw, they would give them a little snack to eat or drink or a little bottle or something. And this is exactly the first portion of the Veda. The pacifiers, the comforters, the little rattle, ding, 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 that keeps the desires silent. It's called rattle because otherwise, in its absence, one is rattled. That's why it's called rattle. No more rattle. Keep quiet. And so, the first portion of the Veda is like that because it assuages the immediate needs of the person. Because the person is not ready for any kind of evolved thoughts. Who am I? That question will never arise. And even if you ask the person the question, the answer will be what? I'm a bunch of desires. I have to have this, I have to do this. I'm attacked, I'm a victim, I'm an idiot. Oh no, that did not come out right. You're the idiot. I'm okay. So this is how it is. This is the person's outlook in life. And that's why the last chapter, the best is saved for the last. Because if the last chapter came in the beginning, confusion ensues. It will never be read. And instead of the message of Vedanta, which is so hum, I am he, it will just become ho hum. Yeah. Nobody ready for this message. So therefore, that message shows the bifurcation of the first portion and the last portion of the Veda, and the arrangement of the chapters. The first chapter is dharma. The second chapter is how to filter the desires through dharma. And the third chapter is dharma, means following the righteous ways, for doing what is needed to be done. And that discussion cannot happen without karma. Swami Sitaji talked about that at length in the morning. So any complaints that you have, immediately look at the list and see what might I have done. Today I was asking Swami Sitaji that, my shoulder is paining, what do you think? What's the, not the medical diagnosis, but the karmic diagnosis. So what could I have, what could have happened that could have done this? So this kind of a karma is not, it's not to feel guilty and feel upset and feel like, oh, I'm no good and I'm an idiot, and this life also I have done a lot of wrong things, next life also I'll do a lot of wrong things. No. It is so that one learns some kind of an accountability. And that accountability is important because one has to live with oneself. If I have to live with myself, I have to be okay with myself, relatively speaking. And I can never be okay with myself if I'm hurting another fellow being or a fellow animal, or trampling through the universe and cutting the trees and having a big, forget carbon footprint, karmic footprint, and causing a lot of distress. I can never be at peace with myself. It's just not possible. And it's not possible because one is connected to everything, and Vedanta will say, nay, one is everything. So but at least even before we get there, we see the connection, we can understand. That's why unless one is a sociopath or a psychopath, there is empathy. You see another person hurting, there is a feeling, oh, I wish this hadn't happened to them. I wish this family did not have to endure this. That feeling is there. And so therefore, the first portions of the Veda teach this kind of a preparation. And that preparation alone makes one worthy to ask the important questions of life. There is no way of bypassing the preparation and then coming and sitting in a class that teaches you are Brahman. A for apple, B for Brahman. That's a huge jump. Can't go there. Yeah. A for Atma, B for Brahman. Okay. But you can't just go straight away there. Brahman is a very big word. It has a big meaning. What's the meaning? It means very big, literally. It's a very big word with a very big meaning. And it is at once you, the source. How else are we going to assimilate this knowledge? The entire source, the whole source of the universe, the cause of the universe is non-separate from you. You say, what? You are God. God is non-separate from you. But I don't feel like I'm God. I feel odd. This is the answer. At once. G must be silent in God. That's why I feel odd. No, you are the cause. I am the cause? I thought I was because. You are all. No. Again, there is some problem with some letters being silent. I feel small, not all. This is the reality. The everyday reality is this, and the vision is that. And bridging the vision takes emotional preparation, emotional maturity. And the emotional maturity begins with the ability, being equipped with the ability to make the right choices. Because the wrong choice can land one in a soup. So the right choices are important. And this is illustrated in the Kathopanishad. Shreyascha preyascha manushyametaha tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. It means two choices approach the human being. One we are going to call Shreyas. The other one we are going to call Preyas. We'll see what they are presently. The Dhira means the one who is endowed with discrimination. The discriminating individual, Dhira, chooses between the two properly, having discriminated between the two. And Manda, the one who is opposite of Dhira, opposite of the one who has Viveka. Manda means the one who is slightly dull. Dulled by too much pursuit of sensory objects and dulled by too much bhoga, not enough yoga. That person will choose this thing called prayers. And the definition of Shreyas means the absolute, seeking which there is nothing more left to seek. Isn't that what we want? Because even though one likes to say, in Kali Yuga, one likes to say, I'm a doer, I'm a shaker, I'm a mover. One is actually secretly very, very tired. Sick of shaking, sick of moving, sick of doing. And in the morning satsang talk, we heard a very important line. We heard how all action is based on this tenet or the vision that you are actionless. It's a very profound and beautiful truth. You are actually actionless, and all action comes from desire. So if I am actionless, am I also desireless? The way Vedanta says, yes, you are actionless and desireless. Then what are these things I keep wanting all the time, because of which I'm shaking, moving, doing, and I can't sit still even for a second? That is a version of the self, a wanting I, a seeking I, a dysfunctional I, a discontented I, a demanding I, a conflicted I, a fearful I, a sorrowful I, whose birth is in the cradle of Atma Ajnanam, self-ignorance. Avidya means, what is that? Ignorance, self-ignorance is called avidya. Since it is feminine, we say she is the mother and she is rocking the baby. And what is the baby? Desire. You know, nowadays this ancestry.com is become very famous. Everybody wants to know where they are from, who is their family, are any famous people there, etc. In India, we don't have that problem. Everybody belongs to a rishi. We have a gotra. We come from the rishis, and beyond that we don't look, because otherwise the answer will come monkey. So we don't go there. What is your origin? Chimpanzee. You don't go there. You stop at the rishi, because it makes you have good self-esteem, and that's all you need. But people who don't grow up in India, then they are wondering, where am I from? And this ancestry.com, etc. becomes very important. So if self-ignorance had a family tree, this is what it would be. It would give birth to desire. It would have a baby called kama, desire. Desire cannot sit still because it is restless. It squirms. It has to run. It has to get things, what it wants. It can never be away from the object of desire. It has to grab. It has to make something happen. So the grand baby of Atma Ajnanam or Avidya is what? Karma. Avidya, then Kama. Avidya had a son by the name of Kama. Kama had a son, what? Karma, action. After action, what happens? What is the next generation? Huh? Yes? Yeah, result of action. So, karma has twins, papa and punya, because the results of action are two. You can either have what? Good actions which have good results, or you do actions contrary to dharma and the results of discomfort, suffering, etc. Papa Punya. Papa Punya, if they were to have babies, it would be rebirth, punarjanma. This is the loop, the loopy tree, family tree of Atma Avidya. So preyas is that life choice which keeps us in this loop. That's the thing. So prayers in English, if you want to say, it should be pray for us. That's all. Pray for us because we have no help and we are in this horrid loop. And then what to do? That's the thing. And repeatedly the person chooses wrong choices. Repeatedly the person is born. And repeatedly the person says, this is like a deja vu. I think I've been here. I think I've done this before. Somehow it is familiar. Of course you've done this before. How many times? You have gone to Grand Canyon. How many times to Niagara Falls? How many times have you taken birth in India? How many times have you taken birth in India and the last desire was, I never could go to United States. And next life, you are born as a baby in the United States. What? Wanting to go to Shivananda ashram, wanting to go to India. This is how it is. This is prayers, that which reproduces and keeps on reproducing this sorry cycle. My teacher used to call it sorry go round, not merry go round. Sorry go round, because it was sorrow that went round and round. This is what is prayers. Shreyas means that stopping of that seeking and understanding that essentially I am a non-wanting person, a non-desiring person. This is what I have to understand. If I don't understand this, then again I am in that other loop. And the two paths are illustrated somewhat. If we had to make an illustration of the two paths, it would be like this. The first one is full of lots of noises. Things are being sold, things are being bought, there are booths with people selling their wares. Come buy this, 10% discount, 5% off, 50%. No, what is it? I saw on one almond milk carton, 37% free. How did they calculate? I mean, 25%, okay, I can understand. 50%, okay. 37% free. They think we are brain free, okay? Yeah. Nothing is free. So this is what it is. They're all selling like this. And then there is a lot of noise. Why? Because there are a lot of people. It looks like a mela. Mela means a fair. A nice fair. If you have a town fair with everybody, like a Saturday market or something like that, it is looking like that, one of the parts. And it's only going up to the bend. You can only see a little bit. And of course, if you pay close look, somebody is beating somebody on the head, another person is weeping, crying, "Mummy, mummy, save me, save me," and the third person is, apathetic. All these things are there. But there is a crowd, there is a There is a waiting line to get into it. You have to wait for the ticket. And then the other path, no takers. Oh, I can just go? Yeah, go. Who is here? All empty, khali, empty. Not anybody there. Who is there? And some little sounds once in a while. Om. Trayambakam yajamahe. Once in a while, little whispers. Om. And a little hint of orange passing by. That's it. Awfully quiet. Which one will you choose? You will say the left-hand path, which is geographically appearing this side, is very scary. I don't want to be alone. I don't want, at least here something is happening. Here I can ask for directions. What kind of directions, It's like asking for directions in India, asking for directions in prayers. In India, no matter where. Because you see, it's not that they are trying to mislead you. It's just that they are very polite and they don't want to say, I don't know. That's why. They'll say, Mera pongo. Go straight. Keep on going straight. After that, what should I do? Ask the panwala. Panwala means a small little condiment shop. You ask the person there who is selling betel leaves and everything. Ask that. And that person also points points the stick in which he is coating the betel leaf. And he says, go there. I just came from that way. Yeah, go back there. 3 kilometers later. 3 kilometers is a mile and something. So after 1 mile walking in the hot sun. This is how it is asking for directions in this the path which comes on the right hand side. The left hand side, it appears lonely, but it is not. That is actually everybody's destiny. You can either take a shortcut and go there immediately, or you can meander, get beaten up, and then get abused, and then get victimized. And some lifetimes you become a bully, other lifetimes you get bullied, result of action. So then slowly you make your way to the other side. Or you can go straight away there. But still, it is very, very difficult. Why? Because of the lack of... What is the difference between dhira and manda? The main difference is that the manda lacks preparation. The manda lacks resolve. The one who is not emotionally prepared lacks the strong resolve and lacks the discrimination to know what path to take. Becomes has a sheep flock mentality. Somebody is going there, my whole family is going there, I'm also going to go there. But you yourself said you don't get along with your family, what happened? No, I do not get along, yes, I want to stand out. Okay, so what are you going to do? I think I'll dye my hair green. That's all there is. Dyeing your hair green is also within prayer's revolt. It is not coming to this side. Few and far between is the choices here. No, but what happens? Can't you just take somebody who is bound for Shreyas, pluck them, who is bound for prayers, the path that keeps on burgeoning into more and more lives. Can't you take somebody there and put them in a Vedanta class, in chains if necessary? You are bound to get freedom. So, what will happen? This is illustrated in a very interesting story in the Chandogya Upanishad, chapter 8. And there we meet three interesting characters. The first one is the teacher, who is called Prajapati, the guru of the gods, Prajapati. And this Prajapati, very, very learned, was giving a talk in a town hall, it is said. And he said, Atma apahata papma vijaraha vimrityuhu, etc., etc. This Atma is vigata papma, means there is this I. Atma means I. There is no other meaning. The I is free of papa, the I is free of punya. This is huge. You are free of regret. You are free of any kind of pain, sorrow. You are free of guilt. You are free of hurt. Nothing binds you. This is what the sacred Prajapati, the teacher, was saying in a lecture. Inside the lecture was Indra. Who is Indra? Yes, the king of the gods, Indra, listening, and along with some of the other devas, and he looked at them, and they looked at him, and they said, "This is wonderful." And they said, "We all appoint you to go get this knowledge from Prajapati. Go to his ashram, find out where it is. Go there and stay there till he teaches you, and then you come back and teach us. And go join TTC in Prajapati's ashram. Go learn some Vedanta and come back and teach us." Outside there was a brawl, and there each one was biffing up the other person. "How dare you? It's mine, it's mine, it's mine." These were the words that were heard. And then when you went outside, who was there? The opposite of the devas. Who is the opposite of the devas? Asuras, Rakshasas, demonic beings. Mind you, we don't have devil in our tradition, okay? There is no devil with minus D, evil. There is no evil, there is no devil. Then who are these demons? Devatas or devotees gone wrong. Devotees with a hubris become demonic. That's who they are. So they were all hitting each other with anything they could find and fighting. But even in their fight they heard, Atma, apahata papma. Oh, you are free of sorrow, you are free of guilt, you are free of hurt. And immediately they stopped hitting each other for a split second. And then they said, "Oh, this will help us. This knowledge will help us in our quest for world domination." This will help us. Because, I'm free of guilt, hurt. If I am, then I can dominate you. Then I can do whatever I want. I don't have to have any conscience at all. This will help us. I am going to go to Prajapati's ashram, said one, and those were his last words, because the other one biffed him. And then Virochana, the king of all the demons, appointed himself after a big fight, a brawl, to go to Prajapati's ashram. But Virochana, doesn't know the road to the ashram. How will he know? He doesn't know where it is. Only if you want something, you look for it. And sometimes the ashrams can be Googled, sometimes they cannot, because they are outside of the range. You really, your own desire and your good karma have to bring you there. Our ashram in Pennsylvania, it's very difficult to, now the coordinates are there, but until a few years it was very difficult to pinpoint where it was. Very difficult to know where it is. So he had an idea. He had heard the gods, the devas, talk about appointing Indra. So he says, all I have to do is follow Indra. Indra hated him, he hated Indra, but the two go together. Virochana and Indra go together, And then they go to, Virochana finds the way because, so Indra finds the way because Indra is interested in these things. And when you're interested in something, you immediately find it. You go to a new place where you don't know anybody. Let's say you're interested in temples. You will find it within 24 hours because your desire for a temple is strong. Another person is also interested in the temple. What kind of temple? A temple where spirits are served. Not spiritual in the same way. Okay? Yeah. And he will or she will also find that kind of a temple. Or somebody, the third person is interested in a gambling den. They will find it like that. And so, for Indra, it was very easy to find it. And Virochana shadowed Indra and also landed in Prajapati's ashram. And when an asura is in the ashram, he doesn't know how to behave. What do I do? It's almost like, you're going in a different country. He had culture shock. Everybody is so nice to everybody. What's wrong with them? Are they feverish? Do they have COVID? What's the matter? He was puzzled. And then what is this they keep doing all the time? What is this? Indra went and did namaskar to Prajapati. He said, oh, it's a weird country. Oh, maybe it's a bodybuilding technique. I will also do that. He also did namaskar. And then Indra spoke, because he didn't even know what to ask for. Indra spoke, and then by then Prajapati, who was busy, he went away. So then Indra also got to second guess himself. And both of them, can you believe this, stayed there for 32 years. 32 years, without even stating the purpose why they were there. They stayed there, they were put in the cow stable, seva. It's called cow stable because it makes one stable, okay, yeah. And then, they were making cow dung patties for fuel, and then they were milking and washing the cows in the morning, and taking them to the pasture, bringing them back, tying them up, etc., etc. 32 years. And then all their brahmachari white clothes by this time had become grey. This is what it is. And then what? Prajapati could not stand it any longer. He said, 32 years you both have stayed here, eating the food and just tending to the cows, and you haven't said a word why you are here. Gentlemen, why are you here? The culture shock still hadn't worn off. Virochana doesn't say anything. He just keeps quiet. And Indra says, a long time ago, I heard you say, Atma, Apahata Papma, etc., etc., that the I is free of death, the I is free of guilt, of hurt, of omissions and commissions of Papa and Punya, and then that is my essential nature. And please, oh sir, show me the Atma. It's just like show me the money, but here it is, show me the Atma. And Virochana, just like when you go to some kind of a restaurant, like a French restaurant for a non-French speaking person, so you just say, okay, I'll have whatever they are having on the menu. So Virochana says, yeah, same. He doesn't even say anything, he just points. And Prajapati takes a look at Indra, who is dharmic, because you don't become the king of gods without being dharmic, without being prepared for this knowledge. And an affable fellow who one would like to teach. And then he looks at Virochana and has to quickly look away before he himself gets depressed. Who? Prajapati. Because this fellow looks so unkempt and not very teachable, thank you very much. So Prajapati doesn't want to teach. He's not ready to teach them. Oh, boys, you want to look at the Atma? Yes, please. We want to look at the Atma right now. 32 years they didn't say anything, but now they're all of a sudden very eager. Can't wait. Prajapati claps his hands and says, two sevas, karma yogis, bring a big vat of water. They bring the water, set it there. Gentlemen, look at yourself. Atma means I, so look at this I in the water. And they both gaze in the water. One pushes the other away. Virochana pushes because I want a selfie. I want to hog the whole thing. You don't come in the way. And he twirls his mustaches, does his hair, does a little bit of instant makeup, spits on his hand and washes his face and, like an animal, like a cat will do that. Cleans himself. And then stands in front. Muscles, yes, this muscle check, that muscle check. And he says, oh, I wish I had known I was being photographed. I would have put some cream and oil so that the muscles would stand out nicely. And then Indra's turn. Indra looks shyly at first, and then he also is caught up in the reflection. Like that Greek god, what was his name? Narcissus. He was caught up in his own reflection. Oh, not bad. Yes, everybody said I looked handsome, but I didn't know I was so handsome, each one thought. And this, Indra says, thank you, O Guru, O Prajapati, thank you very much. And Virochana says, yeah, same. And they both go away. They both depart. Then what happens? Prajapati, seeing them go, utters these words. Says, look at these two foolish ones going, thinking that the means was the end. Thinking that what was on the way was actually the destination. Confusing the stop for the destination. Look at these foolish men depart. And then he utters a caveat. He says, whosoever of them, thinking that they know, opens an ashram and starts teaching this, will be a lineage that will never prosper. He makes a prophecy. And what does Virochana do? Virochana already is planning a big ashram. We have to say that within quotes because you'll see what is being taught there. And he says, what shall I name it? Asura Vidya Gurukulam. He names it. and then he hires a lot of, because he says body is Atma. That's what they learned. What did they learn? Body is I. And that's why the muscles have to be there. So he puts a few gyms on the land, and he puts a few massage people, because you have to constantly get massages and all the things for the body. And I'm not sure, I think that's the origin of the shop called Body Shop. Where all these colorful things are there. Once, I was in an airport. I was running from one gate to the other. I was already late for the flight. And then there was this Body Shop. I didn't even look at it. I just ran past it, and then suddenly some things are falling on me, like cut up pieces of paper. What is that called? Confetti. Yeah, that confetti is falling. And they said, ma'am, stop. I said, I'm late. They said, no, you are the 1,000,000th person to walk past this, and so you are entitled to gifts. I said, no, give it to somebody else. And then the man said to his colleague, she must be mad. Totally. So that's when I got acquainted with this concept of Body Shop. Yes, all Asura Vidya only. And because to the exclusion of everything else, if you practice this, what else will happen? So this is, a little bit I have, made up in the story, as you know. But it is true that he did open an ashram, and then he started to teach that the body is as good as the self. The self is nothing but the body is the self. Then this will naturally lead to a completely wrong thing. But you see, here is where the karma comes into the picture. The good karma gathered from the past and the good karma that we are gathering right now. So we don't have to worry about trying to make this the last life. We are not in charge of that. Only Bhagavan is in charge of that. Our main concern must be to have a good shore of this punya, to shore up on the punya, so that what happens to Indra can happen in the next life if there is one. And what happens to Indra? He goes halfway and then he gets thirsty and then wants to drink out of some kind of a lake or a pond. And there were some twigs and leaves. First he looks at his reflection and he says, oh, who knew Atma was like this? So easy. Then he saw some twigs and leaves on the surface. He wanted to clean that before he had a little bit of a sip of water. And then when he did that, he disturbed the surface of the water. Ripples were there and his reflection got distorted. His face became liquid and he could not see himself. He got agitated. And then he said, wait a minute. Atma is permanent. Atma is not subject to change. That's what I heard. That is what is there in the Shastra. And here, if the face is Atma and the Atma is being liquefied just by touching it, this is not the truth. I have been tricked. I have to go back. It is that good punya. It is his own good karma. The force of that good karma makes him return back to Prajapati. Prajapati says, oh, you, yes, me, we have a question. You have a question, yes? Ask it at satsang. Okay, when is the satsang? After 32 years. What? What should I do? Here is the key to the cow stable. 32 years later, finally he's waiting for that day of the satsang to dawn, and finally that class time and the class day comes. He is excited. He takes a bath early in the morning, anoints himself with stripes of vibhuti here and here and here and here and here. Looks like a zebra by the time he has done. He has as many stripes. And thus adorned goes and sits in front of the teacher. And the teacher says, Om Sahana Bhavatu, etc., etc. What is that? The opening prayer. And he's all ears. The class is one syllable long. What? Om Purnamadav Purnamidam. Class is over? But I have a question. Yeah, in the next satsang. When will that be? When? In 32 years. What should I do till then? Go back to the cows, they are waiting for you. See how cutely they are saying, no, please come, take me to the bathroom. Yeah, that's what they are saying, go. I want grass. So like this, he stays with Prajapati for 106 years. 106 years. Total. And then, because the next class, I'm just, going a little fast because there's a lot of repetition. You may wonder what is the next satsang like. The next satsang was exactly like the previous satsang. Om Sahana Bhavatu, etc., etc. Da, Om Purnamadam, etc., etc. What? What does this da mean? Is this da different from that da? Or should I say da? What is this? What is this? After 32 years. And he says, yeah, I know, I'm going back to the cows, because he knows the drill by now. He himself goes back. Then after that, the last time, I think he had to stay, 5 years or 6 years to make it 106 years. One would think, then finally he understands that the Atma is not something to see. It is not something whose reflection is there. It's not something which casts a shadow. It's not something that is not an object that can be objectified. It is self-luminous in the sense, if I ask the question, are you here? What will you say? Yes. Anybody says no? See me after class. So, I have to spend some more time with you, that means. So, this is what it is. So, you have to say yes. How do you know you know? How do you know you are? That is what is called self-evident, self-luminous, self-existent I. And to this self-existent I, which one doesn't know that it is the cause of the universe, that is the one that is taught. But when I don't know, I am one with Bhagavan, I am one with God, I am one with Ishvara, then I become the Atma becomes a sitting duck upon which many mistakes are projected. I'm longing, I have yearnings, I have no belonging, I'm an idiot, nobody loves me. For that matter, I also don't love anybody else. This is the whole story. The sad saga is all a mistake. A mistake happens when the adhisthana, or that which it is mistaken for, is not known. And we have a stock example to illustrate that. What is that? Example? Rope snake. Yeah. You go out in twilight, even here in the ashram, and suddenly you see something like this. Eek, snake. Then you have a torch. You shine the light. Oh, just a piece of rope, or a hose pipe, a string. Now, that is why the example always takes place in the twilight. In pitch dark, even if you step on the snake, you don't know that you are stepping on the snake, correct? And you don't see anything to make a mistake on. On an unknown rope, can you project a snake? Say no, so we can move on. Can you project a snake on an unseen, unknown rope? No. Can you project a snake on a known rope? Yes? See me after class. No. If you know it as rope, how are you going to see the snake? Yeah. If you have a way, please show me after class, okay? Yeah. So on a known rope, you cannot project the snake because you know it as rope. You don't mistake it for anything else. On an unknown rope, you cannot project the snake because there's nothing, the projection needs a source upon which that projection should be there. So when does the projection happen? On a partially known rope. Asti kaschit, you know something is there. Asti kinchit, but what is that something you don't know? And therefore the projection happens. Similarly, the I is partially known. I know I am, but please don't ask the next question. What is that? Who am I? Don't ask that question. Unless you have a lot of time to hear about the person's 10 marriages and then all the problems in between. This is what it is. So therefore, in order to resolve this rope snake, what do you need? What do you need? Do you need to stop feeling afraid of snakes? Or do you need to eliminate the world of snakes? No. You only need to understand what is rope. That's all it is. So too, in the same way, to resolve all the projections centered on the self. I am as good as the body, one projection. I am as good as the mind, another projection. I am as good as what I see. I am as good as who I am connected to. All these projections have to be resolved. How? By knowing what this I is. Jagat Karanam Brahma, non-separate from Bhagavan. This is what Indra studied for 106 years. And then at the graduation ceremony, Prajapati tells him, valedictory speech, Prajapati tells him, I kept you here for 106 years, not because you are dull, or you are incapable, or you were incapable of assimilating the knowledge. And I kept you here for 106 years, not to tell the other people, all of us who will be reading the Upanishads later, not to tell us that, oh my God, this knowledge takes such a long time. I don't have 106 years, and so I don't even need to attempt to try to get it. No. He says, I kept you here for 106 years because if the likes of the king of the gods is staying for 106 years, that means everybody will take this knowledge seriously as a serious pursuit. Look, Indra has gone there. It's like some celebrity, some Hollywood celebrity has gone there. Oh, yes. This is what it is. Like somebody, some actress, she became a kind of a Hindu, I don't know. But she said, in my family we meditate together, we do puja, and we have Ganesha and everything. Then after that Hinduism became very, very popular. Who is that? Julia, some Robert. So, that gave free publicity because somebody famous is there. So same thing with Indra, 106 years. This is what it is. But then if we do a little analysis of the story, we hear so many wonderful things. We get a lot of insight about this particular emotional preparation that we need to gain this knowledge, to understand this. Notice that Virochana doesn't have a voice at all. Whatever Indra does, he also does. It's almost like he is a shadow. More on this presently. He's a shadow. And then notice that the teaching only begins after Virochana's departure. Yeah. So from this, we understand that actually two people come for the knowledge. Two people come to the Guru for the knowledge. Oh, me and my friend? No, you and your inner child. You and your shadow. No, that is the two people, not you and your friend. You and your friend would be very welcome, but that's not how it is. You, who is an adult, who is wanting the knowledge, who says, I am ready to understand who I am, and I know I'm reactive, I know I have a long way to go. I need to go to a place that will help me prepare my mind and help me, have a discipline for my body and help me study this knowledge. So if it is one person, then the teacher can teach. But then the problem, more often than not, is that there are two people. The inner Asura, the inner Virochana. In psychology we say inner child. Actually it's not a child, it's a brat. Yeah. The inner brat also comes along. Both go to the Guru. And the Guru has to have the Veda book in one hand, or the Chin Mudra in another one hand, which is the teaching posture, and a rattle, a baby rattle in the other hand, simultaneously. Because the inner child also goes to the teacher, but for different needs. Hold me, carry me, love me, I want attention. No, don't look at that one, look at me. Be with me, talk to me. It's all about me. You see, two different needs, two different and divergent needs. One needs a daddy or a mummy, and the other one needs a teacher and the teachings. And so, this is the idea that as long as there is daddy, mummy needed, then this teaching will not, and as long as the daddy, mummy needs overpower the need for the teaching, even if it takes place, will not bless, cannot bless. And why cannot it bless? Because there is no preparation. Because the person who is the wanting person is not wanting the knowledge, is wanting comfort, is wanting attention to emotional health, mental health, etc. It's fine to do the preparation, the emotional preparation in the form of karma yoga and all these other things that are there in the ashram. It's fine to do it side by side as the knowledge is being pursued, or it can be done before, but without the preparation, even unfolding side by side, if the knowledge is given, it will exactly be like virochana. It's a waste of the time of the student, it's a waste of the time of the teacher. That's why in the Shastra, and in any of the Vedanta books and verses, you will hear expressions such as having pleased the teacher. And I used to always think, why does the teacher need to be pleased? The teacher doesn't require to be kept in a good mood, okay? The teacher, the only thing the teacher asks is to show preparedness. That is the pleasing of the teacher. The teacher is pleased, meaning the teacher is satisfied that the person is available and ready for the knowledge. And so, there is a big discussion that, why did Prajapati mislead and teach the wrong thing? Prajapati did not teach the wrong thing, because to teach the person about the Atma, you have to go through the body. You have to first negate what is not Atma and then teach about the Atma, because otherwise directly it is not possible. He was following the same methods of the Panchakosha and everything else that is there in the Taittiriya Upanishad. You start with the food, you start with the body, and then you say, body is you, a body is Atma, everything is Atma, but Atma is not the body. You see, there is the difference. So he was not misleading. It was just a partial knowledge which this shadow person saw as the whole. And the shadow self, the little child, the inner child, the unresolved frozen needs, etc., that one who is represented as the inner child got whatever he or she wanted, because that person said, I got some attention, the teacher looked at me, the teacher smiled at me, the teacher talked to me, enough, I'm off. And then if you go off, then the knowledge is not there. And so therefore, the emotional preparation is the main thing. So one has to be like Indra and be ready to lose the inner virochana, to embark on this journey of knowledge, to lose the demanding person, the unappreciative person, the person with severe authority issues. That is why there is a projection on the teacher. There is a transference on the teacher, because one is not comfortable with authority figures. Usually because that's also a mummy issue and a daddy issue. That also has to be taken seriously and looked at. And anything that cultivates self-love is an important form of preparation. That includes psychotherapy. That cultivates self-love. Yogasanas, psychotherapy. And things, other disciplines with regard to food, disciplines with regard to movement, disciplines with regard to speech. And that is the person who gains this knowledge, because that is the person who has emotional readiness. And there are, many such practices. Many of the practices are there to make the person emotionally grown up. And there is the cultivation of dispassion, etc. So many things are there. There is four things that are talked about: viveka, discrimination, knowing and choosing the permanent over the impermanent; then vairagya, dispassion, or cultivating objectivity with regard to all the wants; and letting go of this inner duality we talked about earlier. And then mumukshutvam is gaining desiring the freedom from samsara, from this life of this loop, kama, karma, avidya, kama, karma, this loop. And then finally we have 6 qualities, the 6-pack, yes, like the muscles. So what are they? Shama, dama, shama, a resolved mind. Dama, some having a say over your hands and legs, control over the, the organs of action. Then uparati, letting go of the small stuff, and then slowly letting go of the big stuff also. Titiksha, the ability to put up with discomfort for the sake of knowledge. Usually what we want to be comfortable at all times. And then what? By the time we come into class and then pile up all the needed cushions and blankets, the class is over. Okay? Yeah. That is not titiksha. I have seen this. I have seen this in some places. One pillow, not enough. Another cushion, yes. Third one. Okay, if you have any physical problems, okay. But this person was not having any problems, was just accustomed to that. That's all it is. So by the time they, and then, forgot the shawl. Okay, go back, get the shawl. And then, forgot the notebook to take the notes. Then what? Came with the notebook, removed the slippers outside, came inside. And the teacher was saying, Om Purnamadav, Purnamidam. Finished. Gone. This is titiksha. Samadhanam, which is very, very difficult to get in these days and times, because samadhanam means single-minded focus, the ability to focus. But we don't have focus, we're always looking here. Oh, who's going? Oh, is there ice cream in their hand? Where did they get ice cream in the ashram? I also want ice cream. Is there ice cream? Is the shop open? Oh, I should have looked at the timetable and find out when the boutique opens, and maybe that will be there. I should have looked properly. So, this is the opposite of samadhanam, okay? These are some of the things. But today I want to highlight just one among all of them, and that is called Shraddha. Shraddha means an attitude of trust pending understanding. It's not faith, because faith is belief-based. I believe karma exists. Okay, but that's non-verifiable. You can never verify it. This is not that kind of a belief. But this is a trust pending, waiting for understanding. Some kind of an understanding. And what is the understanding? The understanding is, I am Bhagavan, I am non-separate from the whole, I am Brahman. That is the understanding. But then, until I see it, I take this as a possibility. That is Shraddha. This has to be cultivated, it doesn't come on its own. Why? Because every child is born with total Shraddha. You have to be. Because when you're born, you can't even move by yourself. Animals are better off. They are able to get up, they are able to stand at birth, they are able to find their way to the mother's milk without GPS, and then they are able to walk. And if they're not able to walk, if they have any problems, the herd leaves them behind because they have to protect themselves. And so, but human babies, not at all like that. Human babies must be cared for a very long time. Sometimes up to the age of 92. Yeah, physically, yeah, the inner baby has to be cared for all the time. So, what happens is that There is a God-given total trust. Whoever the baby is picked up by, it acquiesces, it says, okay, feed me, burp me, love me, change me, it's okay. But as it grows up, it understands that, oh, this is my house, these are my people, this one is a stranger. And then a 3-month-old, if you go like this, it will just come to you. A 9-month-old will say, who are you and what do you want? Some Shraddha has dropped for self-protection. It's part of the universal law. Then the baby grows up even more and notices that the primary caregivers are primary scaregivers. They are strict, they are abusive sometimes perhaps, they are mean, they are unintentionally careless. They drop the baby down a flight of stairs. And then what? 70 years later, this man, I knew one man, 70 years later, he was always having some vision problems in this, and all the doctors had seen everything, nothing, they couldn't find anything wrong. I took him to an Ayurvedic doctor, and the Ayurvedic doctor checked the pulse. He's there in Florida, very famous doctor. And Dr. Soman checked the pulse. And then he said, did your mother drop you down the stairs? And he said, well, I don't know. And the doctor said, is your mother alive? Yeah, she's in a home, she's 97. And so I'll ask her. And thankfully she didn't have dementia. And she said, yeah, I never told you, but when you were 9 months old, I dropped you down the stairs by mistake. And that is in the memory of the subtle body, the karmic body. It is there. After 70 years, the doctor could detect it in the Sukshma Sharira. He said, yes, you were dropped down the stairs. And what is the upaya? What is the remedy? He gave some medicated oil to rub. 70 years too late. But it worked. In 10 days, all the vision problems, all the balance problems that he had had all his life, gone. Amazing, really. So this is how Ashraddha, opposite of Shraddha develops, because the baby may be 9 months old, but then the baby has a very different idea of this mother now. Yes. The mother means what? M must be silent, it is other, it is not mother. And so this is not the mother, this is not how she should be. So there is a wariness, there is a little bit of a fear that is subtle. The baby may be laughing and smiling on the face of it because it has to do that for its survival, but inside its heart is broken. Head also something is soft, but yeah. This is what happens. So all the pains and sorrows that the child endures goes into this place called the unconscious mind. We know this in psychology. Why? Because the child has to continue with these people. The child cannot leave and say, okay, I'm leaving you, I'm starting life on my own. No option. It is dependent on them for its survival. It's dependent for food, shelter, clothing, all its basic needs, and love. So it keeps trying to get that love. It just wants that love. So it will keep smiling and saying, you are the best parents. Yes, nothing happened. Nothing to see over here. This is what is called the unconscious. It is accompanied by denial. It is a necessary protective mechanism. It's a coping mechanism, a moping mechanism, in order to not go there, so that the child can continue to grow. It is actually a blessing of Maya, the goddess. The veil of Maya has dropped over the first 4 or 5 years of the life because we don't remember what happened. We don't know. And this is how the child grows up. And as an adult, when it's able to deal with complex feelings and emotions, when its brain is developed, that's when it comes out. Usually in a relationship of trust, a friendship, a deep friendship, or a marriage, companionship, a committed relationship. That's where the anger comes out. The anger that had been stored for so long, that's where it makes an appearance. The pain that had been stored for so long, the emotional issues come out. I know one couple that had an arranged marriage in India, and they came to me, and she said, he's always complaining about me. And he said, what do you mean by always? We have only been married for 3 months. What is always? Then it became very clear that the husband that she had gained was exactly like her father, in many ways. That is what she was able to see, that this is actually karmic. I could not resolve some of the issues with the father. The father had passed away at an early age. And so all the remnant issues had to be resolved in the form of the partner. That's what it is. So this loss of trust called Shraddha has to be. This loss of trust is nothing to talk about because it happens to everybody, it is universal, it has to be resolved. How to resolve it? You can't resolve it any other way other than by regaining that trust. Daring to trust again. And then even if after enduring the childhood and enduring the aches and pains of the emotions in early childhood, even if you dare to trust again and trust another human being, what will happen? What's your guess? That trust also will be broken. Why? Because you want the other person to take care of all your inner children. And the other person also wants you to babysit their inner children, okay? Yeah. In the beginning it's cute, but then after the honeymoon period is over, it is uncute very quickly. That's why so many times committed relationships end in separation. Because I can't live without you, and then a few weeks later, I can't live with you. This is what happens. And so therefore, there is the need to look at not the other person, but one's own issues. You have to reparent this own inner child. You cannot source it out and give it to the guru. Here, you take care of it, I'm sick of it. The guru is not going to reparent your inner child. And then you cannot give it to the significant other either. Here, look at this cute baby, that is what I look like, take care of it. And what will the spouse say? Yes, provided you also take care of all of mine for the rest of your life. No. You have to do that. But how to do that? First there are some practical steps here. First you have to know it is there. But then where is it? How do I know it's there? Each time you get angry, but you don't know how I got so angry. It is there. Sometimes, you don't notice it in the head because you have trained the head to not give signals of anger. So you'll be very calm. Yeah. The body is like a tree, all just completely. The teeth are clenched, the fists are clenched. The stomach is in knots. You need an operation for the intestines to sort themselves out. But you may be smiling because that's the coping mechanism. There is a denial there. There is the head and the body are cut off. One is not in connection. So often one somatizes the emotions. Somebody told me, whenever I go to this person, some friend, they went to this person's house, the person lived on a nice lake somewhere in, beautiful mountains, lake area. They had a cabin. So you invite this person frequently, come spend a weekend. How did the weekend go? Oh, it was terrible. I came down with stomach cramps. Okay, I must not have eaten, the person thought. Next time, same thing happened. Third time, same thing happened. Fourth time, same thing happened. Then I got impatient. I said, why do you keep going? Each time this is happening, it's obviously not what you eat. Have you considered that it may be the person that you're going with? Oh, the thought had not occurred because they thought, oh, there is mountains, there is lake, there is tree, there is nature. Then how can I be in a very, toxic situation? It's not the toxic situation, it's how that other person has got under the skin that has become toxic. That is what is toxic. And so, this is how one knows. The inner child makes its presence known through stomach upset. It's just the same 5-year-old who says, I won't go to school, mommy, my tummy is paining. This is what it says. Same thing, through gut issues, through some kind of a ailment sometimes, or some kind of a passive resistance, anger, fear, sorrow, they are all inner children. And when it shows up, usually what do we do? Go, I'm going now. I have to have a good time. And you are in the way. Shoo. Just like how we treat flies, unfortunately, you have that thing. What is that thing called? Swatter. No, not swatter. Swatter. Yes. Yeah. So you go. Fight, you go. And this is what you do to the inner children. No wonder there is no preparation. No wonder they just keep coming up for attention because they have been hurting for a very long time. So the next time the fear comes up, have a cup of tea with it. Literally make another cup of tea and just invite the fear. Invite the sorrow. Say, I know I haven't trusted you. I know I haven't made room for you. Please come and tell me what is the matter. What do you think it will say? Yeah, right. You never had any time for me. You're going to have time for me now? I don't believe you. And at that time, you should still be the parent. You should not get into an argument with the inner child. See, that's why I don't make time for you, because you're the rudest thing that ever lived. No. That's not what to do. You have to be gentle. You have to be compassionate. You have to have, this is what is self-love. And in the beginning, if you don't know this, read any book on psychotherapy or inner child work. There is even one inner child work book somewhere, somebody told me. Look at all that and then get some tips on how to do this. Because in the beginning, for the inner child not to trust you is perfectly normal, and if it trusts you immediately, then also it is normal. But if it doesn't trust you, it is perfectly normal because you have ignored it for so long. You have not given it the time of day. So when it comes up, you welcome it. Welcome the anger and direct it towards letting go, either without harming yourself or harming another person. That is how you do it. And this is where that Viveka, Vairagya, everything comes into play. Everything comes into being. You have to be gentle. And if everybody took care of their inner children, then moksha will be a universal possibility very, very, very quickly. Definitely. So that trust which was broken in childhood must be regained, not by putting all the trust on another finite being, but on discovering the mother and the father of the universe. That is what is the journey. The journey from being somebody who doesn't have Shraddha to a person who becomes a devotee, a bhakta. One has to cast oneself as a bhakta, you invite Ishvara to come into your life. Have an altar and make that relationship real. That's why we have Naivedya. You eat, before that you offer. You bathe, and after that you bathe Bhagavan also. Same Abhisheka, same thing. Whatever you do to yourself, you do that. This is how that oneness between oneself and Bhagavan is enacted in the tradition every single day. You can't miss the oneness in the songs, in the shlokas, in everything. So that is what you do. You invoke that. It has to be done properly. Even if it's done in a simple way, it has to be made real. Like supposing one day you forgot to offer the raisins, dry fruits, whatever it was. Because you were in a rush, you went to work. Halfway you remembered. And then you turn back. That is great. Even if you're late for work, you forgot Naivedya, you came back. That is how real it should be. And when that relationship becomes real, the devotee is the one that goes and does the other roles in life. Otherwise, if the devotee role as the primary role is not established, all other roles suffer because the roles roll into the person. The person and the role are one and the same thing. The person, the role is the person, but the person is not the role. Role is you are not the role. You are other than the role, you are much more than the role. And that is what has to, slowly come about. And without Ishvara's help, no way to get this. So let Ishvara's foot or feet be the receptacle that absorbs all the inner children. Take my anger. Tell in so many words. Tell him or her. Take my anger, take my fear, take my sorrow, because you were the one who is in charge of all the emotions. You put it there, you take it away. Take it away, take it away. That's why we say hara hara. Hara means take it away. Hari, same thing. Hari, when you say hurry up, okay? And hara, take it away. Hurry up and take it away. This is what it is. Hara hara hara. This is what it is. Hari, hara are same for us. And that's why if you look at the foot here, you cannot see it. But if you look at the foot of the Lord Dakshinamurti, there is a being. At first it looks like the Lord is stepping on a child. But upon closer look, it's a kind of a dwarf. Has a mustache. And it's a small baby, Asura. Ooh, scary. Has a knife in one hand and a snake or a shield in another. A dagger and shield. Like a little ninja. Yeah. Offensive and defensive. All the time upset, angry. This is the collective unconscious. That is where it belongs. And the Lord is smiling. And the Lord is having the foot gently on top of this being and saying, heal, H-E-A-L, H-E-E-L, both, pun intended, meaning stay there. This is how to localize the unconscious, which has become globalized in conjuring up an inner duality of subjectivity, which makes me see the world painted and eclipsed with all my emotions, pains, sorrows, negativity, fear, doubt, and despair. So this is the journey back to oneself. The journey back to oneself has to be made on the bridge of Shraddha. The bridge of Shraddha conquers distrust, conquers any kind of experiences being defrauded and cheated, etc., abused, lied to. All this is overcome by cultivating Shraddha in the only thing that doesn't disappoint, in the only thing that doesn't change, which is Bhagavan. That's why Bhagavan is like, having a relationship with Bhagavan is like super therapy. Even the therapist might say, the marriage counselor might say, I need to take the next week off. Why? Because I'm having problems in my own marriage. The marriage counselor may say that, but Bhagavan will not say that. Always, all the depictions of all the devatas in the traditions are smiling, happy, wonderful, life is great, you are great, everything is great, be here, come to me. This is all the message. You are fine, everybody is fine, everything is fine, don't worry about anything, be with me. In fact, you are me. So even if you are angry, even if you just hurl abuses at Bhagavan, in fact, the Sri Rudram is a very good example of this kind of, this in the Hindu tradition is prayer. In other traditions it could be blasphemy, it could get you kicked out of the religion. But here, you are welcomed. What? You are an idiot, you gave me this kind of karma, that becomes a prayer. You just add a namaha at the end. What kind of a person are you? Namaha. Namaha means acceptance. Namaha means I can't do a thing about it and I hate it. But okay, I know I can't do a thing about it. You are an idiot. Namaha. And I don't like you very much right now. Namaha. I can't. You say I have to accept things. I can't accept this. Namaha. Then my question to you is, can you accept that you can't accept? No, I can't accept that I can't accept. Can you accept the non-acceptance of your non-acceptance? No. Of your non-acceptance? No. Of your non-acceptance of your okay, yes, fine. At some point you have to say yes. Then you slowly work back. Accept the non-acceptance. Then it becomes acceptance. Start somewhere. Accept the non-acceptance. I can't handle that you have done this to me. Namaha. But this is what the Sri Rudram says. Drape. Oh, you terrible looking one. You think you are good looking. You are disgusting looking. Namaha. Andhasaspate. What are you, blind? What did you do? How did you mess up my life so much? Namaha. Yeah. Daridraha. Daridraha means your soul. You have nothing to give me. You are supposed to be the Lord of the universe and you have made me to be born in poverty, you idiot. What were you thinking? Namaha. And in another one, the author says, this is attributed to Adi Shankara, but I don't know if Adi Shankara composed it or not. Subramanya Bhujanga Stotra, very nice. And he says, here you have 12 eyes, because you have 6 faces. 6 faces means 12 eyes, right? At least. And so, because we are not counting the third eye, then it will become 18. Too complicated. So, at least you have 12 eyes. If you just looked at me, the Shastra says, my whole life and my destiny will change. Why are you being so parsimonious and looking like this? Can't you open your eyes and give me one even accidental look? What a terrible person you are. Namaha. There is an inner transformation. You have let go. You have made Bhagavan into your therapist. Amazing for people who can do that. Really amazing. And that is the way for this sound emotional healing. That is the way to build up bhakti. In the beginning it looks false. Oh, I can't abuse Bhagavan. Everybody is uptight. Oh, this is Bhagavan, I am here, he is there, or she is there, and how can I do this, how can I do that? Try it. You will like it. Yeah. Definitely. Try it here. And this is a safe place. Because if somebody sees you at the Durga temple mouthing off, they will say, aha, they must have attended that workshop. Okay. Yeah. But be sure to add namaha after everything you say. Because that's what makes it a prayer. That's what doesn't make it some kind of a raving. How is it different from raving ranting? This is the difference. Namaha means it is the word namas is an indeclinable word, and appropriately so, because it is at the service of that which is unchanging. The unchanging Lord who is always here, the unchanging Goddess Lord, same thing, who's always here in all forms, in all names, through everything. May I know that, may I see that, and everything, all the things that I'm raving and ranting against in my own life, and including my mind, which is unstable right now, I accept as it is. This is what Namaha means. That is why all the pain is converted into a prayer. And you see, Swami Sitaji earlier was talking about the life of Swami Shivananda ji and how, he was saintly to begin with, etc. And when we look at the lives of, but he also had to do karma yoga. He also had to spend life, tending to the sick and the poor and all these things before he could again rejoin his destiny as a sannyasin. But here also it's like this. When we look at the lives of saints, we find that they have had to often undergo great difficulties. This did not deter them. That's the difference between a saintly person and a person who is not saintly. A saintly person has a different attitude with which to greet the pains and sorrows of life, because it makes them stronger. There is a Kashmiri saint of the 14th century. Her name was Lalla, and she was married off when she was 13 or 14 into a terrible family with a mother-in-law who was a tyrant. And the mother-in-law would serve her food, but under the food she had kept a little rock, a round rock in the shape of a rice. And over that rock, she would put a thin layer of rice. So to other people, it would look like she was giving the daughter-in-law a big bowl of rice, upturned. But there it was just a big stone and a few grains of rice. So tell me, if somebody is 13 or 14 years old, how much food you need in that growing age? And here was Lalla getting just a little bit of rice every day. What did she do? She would just sing as she ate, she would sing as she washed the dishes, and along with the plates, she would wash very carefully the stone and keep it right next to her plate so that the mother-in-law would find it again the next day. This is what is titiksha. Because she knows this is karma, this cannot be overcome. This is not passivity. This is not determinism. This is not weakness. This is some kind of a divya drishti, some kind of a foresight she had. And this way, when you see, and there are some very beautiful stories of Eknath and Jnaneshwar, etc., the Maharashtrian child saints. Just amazing what all they had to go through. First one parent gone, and then another parent gone, and three, the brothers, two brothers and a sister just wandering in the forest. Nothing. Wild animals, everything had to beg for food, had to share the food. And all this, it's just the attitude of Shraddha. The Shraddha, if that one Shraddha is there, then that itself is enough to make one emotionally prepared for this knowledge. In our tradition, we don't have some authority, some organization, exhuming the body of the person 500 years later and then stamping and saying, here is the saint. No, we don't have that tradition. In our tradition, everyone is supposed to grow to being a saint. That is the universal destiny of humankind. In this life itself, be saintly, become saintly. Saint means more objectivity, more Bhagavan-like, less complaints, less toxicity, less self-effaciveness, less of addiction to various patterns in life. more commodious. In fact, all the galaxies can freely enter into the heart. Let the heart be that big. That is my prayer. We'll conclude here, and then if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer that. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Any questions are there? Bring that bag, please. There are books, 4 books. 4 books. Any questions are there? Yes.
As being born a Westerner, I don't have the tradition of doing the rituals
Yeah.
that I do to myself. So is it like staying in a state of gratitude an equivalent?
Yes. But staying in a state of gratitude is wonderful, but you have to express it. And unexpressed gratitude is no gratitude. Yeah. Just like if you go to somebody's house and they treat you well and they give you food, you don't say, I'm in a state of gratitude, I don't have to say thank you. No. You will express it. So you don't need to know the rituals. Just a simple way of connecting to some altar in which whatever thing seems sacred to you, any manifestation. Keep a little thing of water in front of it, the altar, and change that water every day. Offer some raisins. Just go like this and say, please, I want to eat and I'm offering this to you. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be complicated pujas and homas as there are done here, okay? Yeah. I have 2 books here on freedom from distrust and despair, and I have 2 books here on overcoming self-sabotage. I'll leave it here. Whoever wants can take it. Okay. Thank you very much. I have enjoyed my visit here, and I wish you a wonderful health, wonderful body and mind to pursue this knowledge at this wonderful place. Thank you very much. Take care. Om Tat Sat.
So we'd like to thank Swamini Svatmavidyananda ji very much for her visit and her generous sharing of knowledge. Thank you very much. So we look forward to see you again here. You take. Everyone come, take. Thank you, Swamiji. You are going now.
Yes, I'll be leaving now. Thank you so much. It was a very enjoyable visit.
Thank you. Yes. Sorry you had to move the room.
No problem.
Okay, so you have a break. So you have what time, Swamiji, we start? You have a break now? Yeah, I'm not sure. I see. What time the class? Okay, so the class will be at 2:30. Okay, and 2:30 to 4. It will be about yoga for arthritis. And then 4 o'clock there will be yoga class. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, so who will be driving?
Nancy.